So somebody asked me why why my mom put me into the foster care system. So I was 13 when I entered the foster care system. Um, my mother's boyfriend came home in the middle of the afternoon drunk. Not a big surprise, you know. And he took my son out of his walker and then decided he wanted to go get a beer. So he set my son down and he was leaning up against his walker, and we had wood floors, and so the walker slid across the floor and my son fell down. And of course, you know, my son is in hysterics. He's only a few months old. Like, he seriously just got hurt. He fell onto the wood floor. What the fuck? So I'm trying to calm him down, and her boyfriend keeps trying to mess with him, and I'm just like, just like give me a minute, like I'm trying to calm my son down, like he's freaking the fuck out, and he's like red in the face, and he's just screaming his little head off. And so he decided he was gonna get in my face, and I put my feet up to like keep him away from me because I'm trying to calm my son down. I'm sitting down in the chair, and I put my legs up to like, push him back because he's like bending over me, like in my face. And I'm like sitting here trying to get my son to calm down and like breathe and stop screaming. And so he decided to call the cops and tell them that I started hitting him and I started kicking him for no reason. And my mom agreed. And before the cops got there, she told me to leave, and she took my son from me, and she pretty much had him drag me out of the house. So I didn't have any shoes. I was wearing like shorts and a tank top, and I was walking around, and her boyfriend started to chase me. So I ran down the street and around the corner, and I was hiding behind a bush, and some guy asked me if I was okay, and I said no. I asked to use his phone to call my dad, and my dad came to get me. And I stayed with my dad for a few days, but my dad was very sick, and he wasn't able to really care for me like he needed to be able to at the time. So, my mom actually got CPS called on her by the neighbor who got my dad's number because I used his phone. And so they took me away from my mom because she wouldn't get rid of her boyfriend. And so I had my first court date. So I went to stay in a group home in the U district, and then I got a social worker, and I had my first court date, and I told them that it was not safe for my son to continue to live with her if her boyfriend continued to live there and they were drinking and having the issues they were having. So that is when they decided to put my son into the system, which at the time was better than him being with my mom. And that is how I got into the system. Basically, my mom chose a dude over me, and even though my dad wanted me, he was not healthy enough to really have me like a parent should and be able to take care of me the way that a parent should. Even though I was very independent, he had just recently gotten out of the hospital. He was staying with my grandpa. They both smoke, and my grandpa has cats, and I have asthma, so it's not an environment I could be in for a very long time, so it wasn't really a living option for me at the time. But as the questions come, I suppose you will learn more on my journey through foster care, about my parents, about their addictions, and everything else. So just keep the questions coming, Facebook, Instagram, or drop them down in the comments. I will try to make videos as frequently as possible to answer everybody's questions. Have a good night. Bye.